Which Week 17 NFL games should you bet before it's too late? Welcome, football fans, grid, iron, gamblers, and every last one of you holly jolly jabronis. It's Mitch here with my Week 17 early best bets. This is the video where I break down the spreads that pop out at me early every week of the NFL season. This video, I'm not going to focus on the Christmas games because I've already made a breakdown, a prediction video, a preview for Christmas football. So if you missed that video, go check out that video where I make a prediction for the spread and the total and my recommendation for each game on Christmas. This will be focused on the rest of Week 17, the real Week 17. Because let's be fair, the Christmas games aren't really that good. There's some real appetizing spreads the rest of the week, though. So let's get to it. Gronk, spike the like button. Don't be a jabroni. Don't be the Grinch. Like the video, subscribe, bro. Do it! Let's go. Let's start off with the first game. And this one's pretty interesting. The Pittsburgh Steelers at the Cleveland Browns. Pittsburgh is now favored by 4. I say now favored by 4 because it was probably going to be 4.5 until DK Metcalf was officially suspended for 2 games. Now he's going to appeal, but that's not going to appeal down to 0. It would only appeal down to 1. The NFL might give him a chance to play in that Week 18 matchup against the Ravens. We'll see, but if you saw it, you can't be touching a fan, DK Metcalf. But how does that affect our bet in this game? Well, it does loosen or tighten, depending on how you look at it, the point spread. And I like Pittsburgh in a weird way here. Pittsburgh is on the road in a divisional matchup. They lost at Cleveland last season. I remember it was the epic Jameis in the Snow Bowl, if you recall. I don't know how you couldn't remember that game. There's like 3 or 4 amazing sound bites, epic moments from Mr. Aura Jameis Winston. But unfortunately for the Browns, they no longer have Jameis Winston. They've got a quarterback named Shador Sanders who can't complete a pass unless it's a screen. So I look at this and I still think Cleveland is overrated. I felt like they were overrated last week. If Dawson Knox doesn't drop a pass in the end zone, I think the Bills at least match the spread of 10. I thought the Bills didn't really play with the proper level of energy, feistiness, or vigor that was necessary on the road. That game didn't matter much for the Bills. They just wanted to survive in advance and win the game. And coming off a big win against the Pats, maybe you could see a little bit of a dip in the energy, right? But the Bills could have coasted to a win, in my opinion. But the difference here is that Pittsburgh has something to play for. If Pittsburgh beats the Browns, they win the AFC North. That's pretty big because that allows them in Week 18 to simply rest their starters. So this is major motivation factor for the Pittsburgh Steelers. I actually felt like Pittsburgh played one of their best games of the season against Cleveland in the first matchup. They dunked, and I felt like they had very good control and possession against Cleveland in the first game. I love how Pittsburgh's running the ball with Kenny Gainwell and Jalen Warren. I love how Aaron Rodgers is playing. I think that the multi-tight end dimensionality, I'll call it, the formation usage, just the weird ways that Pittsburgh attacks is somewhat of a good way to attack Cleveland. It kind of strips down their aggression because Pittsburgh likes to throw the ball very quickly. They like to throw a lot of screens. They like to run the ball. So Cleveland can't be so over attacking. They actually have to maintain their leverage in the run game, set the edge in the run game, be aware of a screen slipping behind them, right? And I felt in the first game, Pittsburgh just kind of dink and dunked and controlled the whole pace of the game. And this time around, I think Pittsburgh's played really well against Miami and Detroit. And their offense looked really good in both games. And I felt like they had a really nice formula for Aaron Rodgers to have success. And I don't think that formula really had DK Metcalf all that involved. Now, maybe DK Metcalf missing does allow defenses to play more aggressively. It does allow you to pack the box a little bit more. It does allow you to overemphasize the run game a little bit more defensively because you don't have that speed and size vertically attacking you and stretching down the field. But I still feel like Pittsburgh does have some receivers that Rodgers has rapport with and is comfortable with. Calvin Austin has speed. MVS has speed. Thielen looks solid. He's got his tight ends, whether it be Freiermuth, whether it be Jonnu Smith, whether it be Darnell Washington. All three of them can catch and run. And the running backs are just so dynamic. So I look at Pittsburgh's defense, and I also felt like they played a pretty good game for at least 2 to 3 quarters against Detroit. Cleveland is maybe the worst offense in the league. They're at least in the conversation. They have a quarterback that really can't beat you unless like he extends the play and someone finds his way open on a scramble drill. Other than screen passes, which I think the Steelers will be able to defend pretty well, especially with their speed at linebacker, I don't really see how Cleveland moves the ball. Pittsburgh was really good against Detroit's run game. Judkins is injured and banged up if he even plays this game. David Njoku hasn't played in a couple of weeks. The Cleveland Browns are missing multiple offensive linemen. If the Steelers have TJ Watt back, that would be humongous. But even without him, Alex Highsmith has played extremely well. Cam Hayward and Derek Harmon played great against the Lions. They're going to get that penetration against the run. I think they're going to be able to get pressure off the edge. And Pittsburgh likes to play a little bit of man-to-man. I think they can get away with that against the Browns because the Browns don't have dynamic receivers. And honestly, like the entire Browns offense is play action, boots, and screens. I don't think they'll be able to run it. I don't think they'll get much in terms of explosives. Cleveland turns the ball over a ton. Shador takes bad sacks. Their special teams in Cleveland is horrific. And Pittsburgh is a team that feasts on turnovers and mistakes. This is a very important game for Pittsburgh. I think a lot of people will believe that Cleveland can hang and win this game. I just don't see it with Cleveland's current quarterback. I don't think he's anywhere near starting quality. And I don't think Cleveland has a good offensive line. I don't think Cleveland can run the ball. I just don't see how they score points. And I think that Aaron Rodgers will limit his bad mistakes, limit his turnovers, control the game, and win and cover. I could see like 20-13. Pittsburgh wins, Pittsburgh covers. I think they'll win by around a touchdown. So I'll take Pittsburgh as our first pick. I wanted to lead off with this because of the DK Metcalf news. Next. And again, guys, this video, it's in no particular order. Like, I don't have a preference in terms of, I'll let you know if I like really like a bet, but like in my early best bets videos, I just try to like break down each game, give you my thoughts, my lean, right? This is more of a lean video, if you know what I'm saying, but a lot of the times my early best bets do become my best bets. So Pittsburgh is the first. Second, the Buffalo Bills -2.5 at home against Philadelphia. Now, we'll have to check the injury status of Jalen Carter and Lane Johnson. Philadelphia doesn't have anything to play for. They've clinched their playoff spot. They've clinched their division. They have very little opportunity to move up in terms of being the 2 or the 1 seed. They're pretty much going to be the 3 seed. And really, a loss doesn't hurt them either. It's not like they're going to be the 4 seed. So Philly is kind of stuck. Like, if anything, if Philly wants to get healthy, they should kind of keep players from playing in this game. If they need a guy to rest a little bit longer, they probably should. While Buffalo, I believe they still have a chance for the AFC East, although it's very slim. But the bigger deal to me is for Buffalo, the chance to play Pittsburgh in the first round. Like, the Bills' chance to be the 5 seed, I think matters. Because who would you rather play for the Bills? A team that they smacked, the Steelers, or the Jags, or the Patriots, or the Broncos? Like, if you were the Bills, who would you rather play? I think it would be Pittsburgh, right? So I think the Bills do have something significant to play for. The Bills have not lost at home other than losing to the Patriots in 2 years. That's second. If there is weather, we know that Buffalo is well equipped to handle it. Buffalo probably will be extremely cold, if not have snow. They have an excellent run game. Philly has a suspect, inconsistent run game. Hurts is an inconsistent passer of the ball. The Eagles' offense in general, I think, will be overwhelmed in the passing game. Because, yes, the Bills, they're poor against the run, and they're not great in tackling in space, and they can be had on screens. But as a pass coverage unit, they're one of the best in the NFL this year. And from a pure zone defense perspective, McDermott does an excellent job of flooding all your money concepts with players in the right positions. And Buffalo has also flirted with the ability to play some man coverage at times. They do have a good coverage unit. They do have good communication, especially when Matt Milano plays. He's healthy right now. Boza, Rousseau, they're playing. I think that the Bills' pass defense will be strong enough. I think their run offense, which Philly has struggled with the run a little bit, especially without Jalen Carter, I think they can possess the ball and go on long drives. We know Josh Allen is definitely capable of extending plays on his own, running on his own, which he should be able to do against the Eagles. And I do think the Eagles have a massive advantage in terms of covering the Bills' receivers, but the Bills love to heavily target tight ends. And Philadelphia does have a couple weaknesses at safety and at linebacker one-on-one against tight ends. So I do think that Buffalo will be able to run the ball. I think they'll be able to play pass defense. And especially if they get the lead in this game, I think it will be a dangerous setting for Philadelphia. Could Philly win this game? Yes. If Saquon has a great game like he did last week, and if Philly is able to just absolutely stifle Buffalo's pass game, they have a chance. It's 2.5 for a reason. But this is a dominant home team in the Bills with a large quarterback advantage. In my opinion, a coaching advantage. And I would say a pass game advantage overall. So I would take the Bills here under a field goal at home to win this game, especially if it's bad weather, because Josh Allen goes to Superman mode and Jalen Hurts becomes pretty pedestrian, as we saw in the playoffs last year. So, Buffalo, -2.5. Next, Carolina, +7 against Seattle at home. Too many points for Carolina. Seattle is not exactly a blow away teams on the road type of team, especially against a good, capable Carolina who beat the Rams outright, beat the Packers outright, beat the Rams at home, beat the Packers on the road. Like, this is a Panthers team that has competed and rose to the occasion. Outside of the Niners game that they lost 20-10 and they were pretty pathetic on offense, their defense played well. They have kind of rose to the occasion in these big games. And this is a huge game for Carolina. It is a big game for Seattle. Don't get me wrong. They need to maintain their NFC West and number 1 seed edge. It's a big game. But for Carolina, it's win and get in. If Carolina wins this game, I'm almost certain that they make the playoffs. If not, it definitely gives them the inside track on the Tampa Bay Bucks. So, or maybe Tampa Bay has to lose to Miami. I'm not 100% sure, but it's still a big game here. And 7 points to me is just too many. 7 points at home, like a full touchdown against this Carolina team. I think this is an under. This is a low total. It's 42.5. I think both teams will kind of struggle to run the ball. The Seahawks will be kind of funneled towards running the ball, which will slow the pace of the game, keeps drives long, right? The Panthers, they like to play too high. They like to kind of make you dink and dunk the ball underneath. And what have we seen from Sam Darnold all year? He's great at throwing the ball down the field. But when you force him to kind of be patient and deliberate and consistent with his quick, short passing game, he's not precise enough. And the Panthers are really good at that. They also have some really underrated corners. J.C. Horn's awesome. Mike Jackson's really good. And their safeties, Morig's played well. Like, their safeties are playing well. Their D-line with Derek Brown in the middle, it's not easy to just push them around. They don't have a great pass rush, but Derek Brown could get some interior heat. And Seattle has not been a consistent running football team, which is the way they're going to have to move the ball. On the other side, the Panthers are going to struggle to move the ball on the ground too. But I do think the Panthers can match the size and physicality of Seattle's front. Seattle doesn't have a very fast front, but they are very big. And the Panthers' O-line is very big. So I do think in the pass situations, they can create some time for Bryce Young. And Bryce has been playing pretty well. He's been ad-libbing, making plays, making the plays to McMillan, who's going to be a tough cover. Jalen Coker has proven to be pretty good. Hubbard and Dowdle are dangerous. So I just think Carolina's a little underrated. I kind of like how their defense matches up with Seattle's offense. We saw Seattle at home struggle with the Colts. I think they could struggle with the Panthers for a lot of the same reasons. Long drives, a lot of 3-4 yard runs, quick throws. I think the Panthers can replicate the Colts' Phillip Rivers formula. And I think defensively they can keep the top of the defense. And they can funnel everything underneath. So I like Carolina +7 at home. Too many points. Seattle might be sleeping a little bit here. Next, I just want to throw the Patriots game in here. It's not a best bet, but people like when I break down the Patriots games. The total's 43. New England is -13.5. It's a lot of points. If I had to lean either way, I would take New England. There's no way I'm betting the Jets. The Jets look like the worst team in football. In fact, I would actually have the Jets as the worst team in the league entering this week. I think the Raiders have played better more recently than them. I think the Browns, because of their defense, is better. And I think the Titans have proven to be a lot better at this point. So I think the Jets are the worst team in the league. So New England, we'll see if they get Milton Williams back this week. If Milton Williams plays and Robert Spillane plays, who's been missing from New England's defense, and this is kind of the interesting part about New England. I think people are going to be underrating the Patriots entering the playoffs because they've seen them play defensively against the Ravens and the Bills, two of the best run games in the league, and give up some big runs without their two best run stoppers. And I think that's going to change the way people view them entering the playoffs. But I think that's going to incorrectly shade the way that they're viewed. Like, it's going to fog up the picture because I think New England's run defense, when they have their full personnel, is very good. Plus, you get Will Campbell back at left tackle. This is just an overall Patriots perspective. I think New England is a real threat to win the AFC as a whole. That being said, in this game, it matters for New England. They have to win their division. But is it like a huge game? Not really, right? They're fighting for the number 1 seed. They're fighting for the AFC East. I think this is a tune-up game for the Patriots. I think they're going to try to take this opportunity to get their run game kick-started. Stevenson, get him going. If Travion's back, get him going. Drake May's on a great run, maybe boost his MVP stats. But the Jets' defense looks horrendous. They can't cover right now. They don't intercept the ball. They don't force turnovers. They barely get any pressure or sacks. This should be a massive game from the Patriots offense. And even on the road, I still think the defense is going to be able to make a couple stops and a couple turnovers. Like, if it's Brady Cook again, he's just unplayable. He's that bad. Like, he's horrific. He's a CFL quarterback. Like, if anything, I would lay 13.5. I think in order for me to completely, utterly stay away, I'd have to get to over 2 touchdowns. Like, the Patriots aren't the '07 Patriots, but the Jets are that bad. Like, they're the worst team in the league, in a league full of bad teams. So I'd still lean towards New England here in a matchup that we already saw them win by 13, and they probably could have won by more. against a much better quarterback, and at the time, a team that still felt like it had a little fight. This current Aaron Glenn team has zero fight left. So I like the Patriots. I think they'll win like 30 to 17, 30 to, not even 17 is crazy. 14, 31-14, like somewhere in that range. So yeah, I don't know. Unless the Jets switch their quarterback. Next, the Green Bay Packers -2.5 at home. I would take the Packers. I was impressed by the Packers. Now, I do think Lamar will be out, so that also helps. The Packers have to win to make the playoffs, so the Packers still have something to fight for. The Packers are at home where their defense has played a lot better this season. I expect that to be the same against Tyler Huntley and the Ravens. I think it's a lot different when you play the Ravens and you're playing them expecting Lamar and Huntley shows up, and when you're expecting Huntley. I think it's two different things. Also, the Packers have been pretty good against the run overall this year, and I don't think they're just going to be shredded by Keaton Mitchell and Derrick Henry. The Packers also play like some pretty proper zone coverages. They should be getting a little healthier on defense maybe this game. Maybe Williams comes back at safety. But I was overall impressed by their defense through 3 quarters against Chicago. They fell apart in the 4th quarter. Offensively, whether it's Jordan Love or Malik Willis, I think the Packers should be able to move the ball. Now, I will say that Jordan Love would give them a much bigger edge in the pass game. Willis is much better in the run game. But when they put Willis in there, their run game becomes really good and really dynamic and, like, honestly, like, really hard to stop. But with Jordan Love, their passing game is much, much better. And I do think that they're going to be able to throw the ball on the Ravens. The Ravens don't have a pass rush. And I think with the vertical ability of the Packers offense, I think they'll be able to create some explosive plays just as Drake May did. Plus, it's in Lambeau. There could be weather. I think if there is weather, Love would greatly handle that much better than a Tyler Snoop Huntley. So I think the Packers under a field goal is a great look, depending on what happens with the quarterback position. But I do think it will be Huntley. I'm not sure if it's going to be Lamar. Obviously, if it is Lamar, that changes my perspective on the game. I still think I lean towards the Packers, though. The Ravens have not beaten a good team all season. They have not beaten a good team all year other than Chicago. And that was it. I think they're like 1-8 against teams that are above 500. So Packers -2.5 at home. Big bounce back game after choking away last week, kind of like the Patriots did against the Ravens. Chicago and San Francisco, Sunday Night Football. It's going to be a great game. Now, I don't know the updated spread as I am recording this after Monday night where the 49ers were absolutely unstoppable on offense. Brock Purdy had 5 passing touchdowns. Christian McCaffrey looked great. George Kittle looked unreal. Jawan Jennings looked the best he's looked all year. They were humming on offense. The updated spread is 3, and it is shaded towards 2.5. So it's still pretty similar. When I break down the game, the 49ers defense is the question here. Both defenses are questionable. The Niners have been better on defense at home, as most teams are. Chicago's as well, better at home than on the road. Chicago is still fairly beat up in the front 7. Edmonds could be back for this game. No, Edmonds actually played last week, did he not? I think he did. So he is already back. He was activated last week. But when I watched that Packers game, despite winning money on Chicago, I was unimpressed by Chicago for about 3 quarters. I thought that Chicago got moved around up front. I thought that the Packers were able to run the ball really well. I thought that their pass defense actually played much better than I would have expected against Green Bay. But I think the 49ers in perfect weather in San Francisco is a lot better at throwing the football than the Packers in bad weather, windy conditions on the road. And if Ricky Pearsall is back, that only gives another boost to the 49ers, who were already unstoppable against the Colts. The Bears like to play a lot of zone. I don't think they'll be able to match up in man-to-man against this 49ers team. We saw the 49ers beat the absolute brakes off the Bears last season. Totally different Bears team, but I think it was like 38-13. The Niners were terrible last year, and they still beat them by 20. So I wonder how it matches up from a personnel perspective, because the defense is fairly similar to last year. Defensive line-wise, though, I just don't know if the Bears will be able to affect Purdy enough. I don't think they're going to be able to stop McCaffrey. And I think at home, the Niners are going to be pushing 35. Like, I think they're going to be scoring points in this game. So I think it's going to be really hard for the Bears to get stops unless they get turnovers, which the Bears are very good at creating turnovers. And Dennis Allen's a creative coordinator. So is Lou Anarumo, though. And that didn't really turn out to be anything. So it'll be interesting, but I think the Niners are going to be able to score. So the other side of things is like, can the Bears score and keep up? And maybe is the answer. Like, again, the Niners defense is not very good, but the Bears are an offense that I think they need to run the ball to really be successful. And we saw Jonathan Taylor kind of struggle against the Niners. I mean, it wasn't great for Jonathan Taylor. It was really Phillip Rivers' decision-making, accuracy, poise, getting the offense in the right play. Like, Ben Johnson is a great play caller, and the Bears do have some weapons, but the Colts' weapons are better than the Bears. And Rivers just like, he's a lot smarter than Caleb. Caleb's a lot more athletic. Caleb can run, he can move, he's got a great arm. But you do wonder if he'll consistently make the right decision against San Francisco the way that Phillip Rivers did, right? And that's where I have my wonders, right? The Bears really can run the ball well, and San Francisco has had issues with the run game the last few weeks, but they've got a lot of personnel back up front this week. They got back Yetur Gross-Matos. They got back Eric Kendricks is now on the team. They added a couple defensive linemen, just getting them back from injuries. So Jordan Elliott's one of them. Like that, 2 or 3 or 4 starters came back against the Colts, and I think that really improved their run defense. The Bears, you're going to have to watch. Do they get Burden back? Do they get Adunze back? Are these guys playing? For the Niners, they could get Green back at corner, who might be their best pure man-to-man corner. In fact, he probably is. So that would really help slow down DJ Moore. I kind of think the Niners are the team in the side here. I think it's going to be really hard for the Bears to stop San Francisco at home. And I just think that San Francisco at home with their crowd in their environment, Salah's defense at home, feeding off the energy of the team, I think that they can slow the run enough, get the lead on offense, and force Caleb to beat them as a drop back passer. And that's where Caleb has been a little bit less explosive and good and consistent. Caleb has been very good off play action, and when the game has been like a balanced one, but I kind of feel like if he is in a drop back setting, he's not the best quarterback because he's not the most accurate. He will throw inaccurate passes, and he's not the most consistent reading the field. So I think Purdy is better. I think the offense for the Niners, the passing game is better. And I do think this is a matchup that the Niners can run the ball. So I like San Francisco at 2.5. It could be a field goal game if it's at 3. It could be 27-24. I would still expect the Bears to score around 24 to 30 points. I think it's going to be a high-scoring game. But I would expect the Niners to come through at home. Let's call it, for the sake of the video, 31-24 for San Francisco. I think they're the side here. I do think Green and Pearsall will be back. I'm not as certain on Pearsall, but I think Green will play. And then Monday Night Football, the Rams at the Falcons. Am I crazy to think the Falcons +8 is a good play? Every time we trust the Falcons, it feels like they fail us. So let me know in the comments, but this is kind of like a familiarity matchup. The Falcons are at home. It's a primetime game. It's their last effort. We saw them play against the Bucs in primetime and play really well. It's 8 points. It's at home. It's Raheem Morris and Zach Robinson, 2 guys that came from the Rams playing against their former team. So they have good recognition and understanding of the offense and the defense and the entire Rams operation. So they should have good game plans, right? If Drake London is a week healthier, that will help. Bijan has been unstoppable lately, and Kyle Pitts has been a different human. Cousins has been okay. The Rams defense, though, has been very susceptible to the screen game, to the passing game, and to the middle of the field. And I think the Falcons can move the ball a bit in that regard. The other thing is, like, the Falcons defense, I think the Rams will be able to run the ball on them. I think that Puka's always a problem, right? Devontae's probably going to be out again. I'm not 100% sure, but he could be out again. He'll have 10 days to rest up. We'll see if he's back for this game. But the Falcons are really solid in the pass defense department. Like, they can get pressure. They're good with their blitzes. They're creative in their coverages. They've got some ballers in the back end. AJ Terrell, Jesse Bates. Like, if Stafford threw a couple picks like he did against Carolina on the road here, I wouldn't be that surprised. Like, the Falcons can definitely do that to a quarterback. So this is an interesting game. Like, I think the Rams will win, but I wouldn't be surprised if the Falcons just made this their Super Bowl. And if this game was within a possession, like, I wouldn't be surprised if this was a 30-23 type of game in Atlanta on Monday night next week. The Rams need to win the game, but also at the same time, it's not like they're kind of playing for a team to lose. Like, they kind of need San Francisco and Seattle to start losing some games in order for them to get back this lead in the division. They're pretty much just playing for their wild card seeding at this point. So that's an interesting game that I'll have to think about. But I think Atlanta +8 is a lot of points at home in their Super Bowl. So there it is, guys. Early spread picks, early best bets for week number 17. If you haven't already, check out my Christmas picks. That video is separate, has been released. Go watch it. Go check it out. If you enjoyed this one, Gronk spike the like button and don't be a jabroni. Subscribe. See you later. Peace.